I'm a rich guy and I have a penthouse somewhere. I need a poor guy to sweep the floors. I need a poor guy to work in my factory. Why are some countries poor? Why are some countries rich? This question very often gets one simple answer: corruption. But corruption is just the symptom. It's just the thing that you see on the surface. But what is that root of the corruption? That somehow never really gets questioned, even though it is a very important question. In fact, even more important than corruption itself. So you have to really start questioning the global financial system in this case, because that's where you find the reason for the corruption in the first place, right? Richer countries have industries, have developed industries, and these developed industries require cheaper resources. To get cheaper resources, what they have to do is to get into countries that are already poor. And these countries are already poor because of wars, because of foreign intervention, because they were historically colonized. Now, the factors may be many, but it's usually either they were colonized in the past, or they had a recent war. And that war, by the way, is very often also connected to the colonized aspect. So think about this in the sense of, if I'm a rich guy and I have a penthouse somewhere, I need a poor guy to sweep the floors. I need a poor guy to work in my factory. It's not a system where we can group hug and we can rise together as one. It's not that kind of system. The global financial system, it's not neutral. It is there to strategically benefit those who are already in power, right? So when Indian agricultural companies sell their products into Nepal, right? What Nepali leaders are not going to do is they're not going to put tariffs on those agricultural products from India. They're not going to government subsidize Nepali industries. You know why they're not going to do that? Because that would pose a disadvantage to Indian industries, right? We're not going to create the Nepali Coca-Cola company, and we're not going to export Nepali Coca-Cola into America. Why are we not going to do that? Because that would directly compete with Coca-Cola. And we don't want this. The reason we don't want this is because if we did that, we would get economically sanctioned here or there somewhere. That is why poor countries can never develop, because if they do develop, that means they have to go face to face with developed industries. If they go face to face with developed industries and win, they will get economically sanctioned. That has been historically the case. That's everywhere, and that's been historically the case in Nepal too. Recent examples come to mind, for example, the 2015 earthquake, where Nepal tried reinstating its sovereignty, basically, and the reaction of that was an immediate economic sanction during an earthquake. Not something you want to happen when thousands of people are suffering. So we have a global financial system in place that is unjust. It is not neutral. It is there to specifically benefit countries that already have developed industries. And this is what explains why some countries are poor and why some countries are rich, all right? Some countries are just not allowed to be rich, because if they were rich, they would pose a disadvantage to already rich countries. It would cut into the profits of already rich countries, right? You cannot have a bustling city, a city skyline filled with glitter and gold without poor people mining for the glitter and gold. So when Nepali people go abroad and they see all of this development, all this high-tech stuff, they always forget somebody somewhere in the world is suffering because of this. That is exactly what's happening. That's exactly what explains global inequality. So it's not hard work, it's not a superhero movie where we can fly together and we just will power through all these issues. If we want to develop, we need to distance ourselves from this global financial system. We need to do what Vietnam did, we need to do what China did, and we need to do away with our dependency on other countries.